Hi guys, I'm Janet, on occasion, and today I'm joined by the Gobbo King, and we're going to talk about the Tomb Kings update patch notes. So, we're skipping all the campaign stuff, because there's just so much of it, and, you know.
Well, a lot of it's like improved sound effects for when squigs are fighting squigs.
Yeah, and like crashes and stuff like that. So,
Yeah,
it's some
things that
good
wanna.
stuff. Like, Bretonia have had a lot of new, like, buildings and things added, and, like, new tech trees, so, Bretonia's got a lot of love, but, like, if you're interested in campaign, there'll be a link to this, so you can check out
Yeah.
all those things, but we're going to talk about the multiplayer stuff. So, yeah, start with battle changes. Do you want to go over this section? We'll do like a section each.
Yeah, we can do that. So the battle changes. I think the first one I'm going to highlight it. Is they're reducing ranks, the ability that ranks increase. So I don't think we're going to be seeing as many people chevroning things up now. Of course, they didn't give exact details, but I heard that increased price and you don't get as much melee defense. I think you're going to see some changes there. Bracing, that's something most people won't even notice, honestly. Same thing with the vigor. People won't even notice. But I do think this is important. All breath attacks cooldown has increased to 60 seconds, and damage reduced or shifted from single target to area effect damage. So now you're not going to see. I think you're not going to see as many people try to use Dragon Breath to snipe lords and monsters.
And that's brilliant, because I don't think that's what it should be for, really.
Yeah, that wasn't what it was used on the tabletop, so I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great change.
And there is a lot of accuracy changes. We'll get to that, to the rest of it. Yeah. There's also a chariot when chariot changes, so I think you're going to see more of a ping pong effect. But most people don't bring chariots anyways.
Well, actually, I think really that should be a different note. It should be fixed doom wheel. Because you know that stupid thing where doom wheels will be chasing a unit and they'll just take damage and damage and damage and damage and damage, and they can't move either side because they're just being pushed by the doom wheel. So like it happens to like lords and heroes and things. They'll just get pushed forever and just take a ton of damage. That I think is what it's fixing, and that is a great change. That is really appreciated, because that was just daft.
And the one below it might make someone like Grimgor more viable.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So
that's
now,
exactly what I was thinking when I read that.
Yeah, now heroes are less likely shoved around. Flammable units, 25, but that's only really what else.
Yeah, I can't think what the other weakness was. I guess also Hydras and stuff like that.
Hydra, anyone with generation
units as well.
Yeah, anyone with generation.
Yeah, yeah. What was the flame weakness before? I can't remember.
40. I got it right here. I think it's 40. Let me pull up good old Wood Elves and let's grab a Dryad. Yeah, it's 40%.
Oh yeah, 40%. That's pretty huge, actually.
I mean, that's why Lore of Fire was so good versus some of those. Although regeneration, I think it was 125. Let's check. I got a War Hydra here.
Oh yeah.
20% weakness to fire.
Okay,
so it's just the tree of units.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess regeneration isn't the same as flammable weakness, is it? Flame weakness.
Yeah.
It's a different stat, so. But that's
and other than that, max 9 missile infantry, monsters, chariots. I don't know if that's for all of them, but I think
I think that's collectively. So there's a limit on so like dragons is an obvious one, because there's a limit on dragons total and types of dragon. So you can only have 2 dragons total, but you can have 2 sun dragons, or a sun dragon and a star dragon, but you can't have 2 star dragons because they have a cap of 1 for star dragons.
Huh.
But that's going to be outside of lords, of course. But yeah,
so that's it. I mean, and doom wheels
generally, and yeah, only 2 doom wheels I think is another good shout, because that being spammed was just dull.
And now we have the Beastmen. So let me go ahead and switch over to Beastmen. Oops, the Dark Elves, and let's get rocking and rolling. You can take this section.
So Bestigors now cost more, and they have lower melee defense, so they're just worse basically. You're not going to get as good value out of that generally, but I think that's a good shout, because they were really terrifying for a while. So I think that's a nice change. Ungor Herd, now less leadership, but they do have a better charge bonus. So that's kind of nice. So while you're swarming stuff, you'll do better, but they will run away a little bit quicker, which I think makes sense, because they're Ungor Herd. They're not supposed to stand and fight, really, are they?
No.
Ungor Spearman Herd, less health, which seems odd to me, because the next one with shields is a weird one. I can't tell if that's a good thing or not, because they have less leadership, less health, but they do cost less. So we might see more of more Ungor Spearmen just sort of plugging gaps and things for a bit cheaper, which I think is a good
Well, I think what it used to be is you used to be able to chevron up the regular ones to beat the shields. I got it right here.
Oh, yeah.
So I got 2 guys here. Let me chevron one up. And yeah, if you chevron them up, I don't know, they're pretty close.
Obviously, you don't get the missile resistance with the normal ones either, but yeah, but that seemed to be a very common thing recently, especially with like chevrons being cheaper and having a big effect. When Warhammer 2 came out, it meant that like a lot of units you could just surpass their counterparts by chevroning, and you'd get better value, which was a bit silly, really.
I think some of these like Razor Gore Herd, Manicore, it's not anything particularly interesting, but I do think the Gore Herds for Synthagores is interesting.
Yes, I mean Gore Herds are just better, but they cost more. Gore Herds with shields are better, but they cost more. Centigores all lose 2 HP, so they're going to be more, they're going to be easy to pick off, which I think is probably a good thing, because they're kind of durable. They just move around so quickly. You can usually get on ranged units before they can get focused down anyway, so that's good. They're a little bit more vulnerable. But the Centigores are great weapons, removing splash attacks. That is massive. It means they're not going to be able to just melt units when they charge them, which is pretty
well, minus 2 HP. I mean, that's it doesn't sound like much, but how many guys you have in a unit?
45.
45, so that's 90 hit points total. That's going to make a pretty big difference, I think.
Yeah, well.
I agree with the 50-point cost for the Gore Herds. They trade very efficiently, even against like White Lions.
Yeah, because I used to bring all Gore Herd in Warhammer 1. I never bothered with Bestigores or Ungors. I'd just bring Gore Herds because they used to do really well. But then Bestigores got so good, it was always worth bringing Bestigores, then offsetting the cost with Ungor. But Gore Herds are great.
And I think the Centigores, that's been the common meta now.
Yeah, absolutely. People are just bringing like so many units in them. But yeah, the great weapons, removing the splash damage, it means they won't just melt enemy cavalry quite the same way.
Of course, the big one that everybody wants to see is Cygors are no longer highly accurate.
Oh god, yeah, minus 10 marks, which was fantastic. Mantigores attack quicker, which is kind of nice, especially because they rampage now. They've been a bit useless. Razor Gores with more health and leadership, I think is really good, because Razor Gores, I never pick them because they just run away. They never stay in combat for long at all.
Oh, I pick them.
Well, of course you always bring weird stuff. You bring the Teeth Robbers. I mean,
well, the Razor Gores are best when used against something like Hargonaut Executioners.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you can get them onto like a Swordmaster unit or something, they're like, oh, I'm gonna eat your Bestigores alive, and then you just sue pig and you run at them.
No, that works great. But I think them being able to stay in combat a little bit longer means they can do that a bit more reliably, which I like. The Giant having more health, I think that's a good shout. Like, I think you want the Giant to be, to be able to soak up.
I think it's all Giants.
It is, yeah, it is actually all Giants. They do specify that every time there's another Giant layer. Kazrak being a bit cheaper, I think that's a good shout, because no one's really picking Kazrak at the moment.
I like him. I think it's a decent cost right now.
I've picked him a few times. I don't think it's too bad. But I think that might just be to incentivize variety. Because everyone's always picking Morga if they want to be competitive, usually, so...
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Kazrak being a bit cheaper is nice. Bretonia, this is pretty extensive. Do you want to go over Bretonia?
Yeah, I'll hit the ones that I think are important, like the melee costs and stuff. I'll skip that, but it looks like all the infantry is getting a reduction of points. Man, I agree with that across the board.
Oh yeah,
because they're such trash. Plus one speed for Footsquires. I laugh at these things. Like, who said like this is what they needed? I mean they do. I don't want to take away from the testing group, but I just always find it funny.
Oh yeah.
I do like that the bowmen have reduced costs. I thought it was ridiculous to pay an extra 100 just to get fire arrows.
Yeah, for sure. And also the fact they do a little bit more AP damage now. Less damage overall, but it means the fire arrows are going to be better for armored stuff, while the regular ones will still just be, your usual pick against unarmored stuff.
So instead of 23 missile and 1 damage, it'll be 21 missile and 2 damage, or AP.
Yeah, but that's
not too bad.
When there's, 90 in a unit? So that's an extra 90 AP damage from a volley. If you look at it like that, that's pretty substantial.
There's 68.
Oh, 68. So that's an extra 68.
Yeah, I'm on large size.
Against, like, I don't know, a dinosaur or something. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Knights Errants, nothing big there. I think
charge.
The Equestrian Knights got some more AP damage, which is just going to make them pretty beefy.
But they do attack slightly slower now. And they do have
True.
less charge bonus. But then the extra melee attack means their hits will register more. So it's quite difficult to work out quite how much of an effect that's going to have, I reckon.
But I mean, across the board they got it. I like the Grail Guardians getting AP damage because that's what I hate about them right now. Because right now they have weapon, they only have 7 AP, and they just can't hurt anything.
Yeah, it's a bit.
But with the extra 4 AP, they'll be 11 now, and they got some extra boosts. Which only 50 points. That's fine.
Grail Knights, they're a very defensive unit, but you don't really want them like just defending against trash infantry. Like you want them to actually defend stuff, from like scary things. So the AP will help.
Grail Knights will be pretty monstrous. They have 12 AP, so I bring them up to 15. I mean, -2 charge bonus is not a big deal. So it reduces them to 80.
That's huge, so that's fine. Yeah, that's barely a change.
But yeah, they made some of the guys a little bit fast.
2% change in charge bonus. It's pathetic.
But this is something I was talking about. Like across the board, they're just getting extra AP everywhere on all their knights.
Yeah.
The Trebuchet
knights plus 9 AP is pretty substantial.
Yeah. And they get a little more extra melee defense, which people don't think about. It's only like 2%, so they're 2% less likely to be hit. But if you consider that, they're fighting a unit and say there's 100 guys on it, that's 2 less hits every 3 to 4 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it'll keep them fighting a bit longer. Trebuchets, though, I think this is an amazing change. This might actually make them worthwhile.
They're so trash.
Yeah, so better accuracy. Because trebuchets at the moment, they barely ever hit, and when they do, it barely does damage. So making it so they can actually hit more reliably, and they do some explosive damage and some explosive AP. It means they will actually hurt things when they hit them, which is excellent. Also, the artillery crew, it's only plus 3 HP, but that might mean that when the unit's usually wiped out, they might survive long enough to get back on the trebuchet and fight another day. So that's a nice change, I think. It'll just make trebuchets more.
There's some cost reduction for the heroes, but I think I'll skip it because it's pretty
Lewin on Hippogriff, more expensive, which I find odd, because Lewin's not brilliant, so I don't know why.
I don't know. Currently, I don't know. I think he's the best lord for him.
Maybe.
But it also says Lewin on Hippogriff, not Lewin on Beaky.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a point, because it does differentiate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's rather odd.
I never brought him
on a Hippogriff.
But anyways, the Green Knight. He has no armor now. I'm pretty sure he does.
That does put him down to 0.
And now, let's flip back over. He's minus 150 base damage.
Which sounds like a lot.
Yeah, so he's going from 290 to 140, but his AP is going from 140 to 260.
Which is huge. So
and Dolores Blade is being rechanged.
Lords and stuff, which I think will be good. So I like that. I do want to know how the Dolores Blade is going to change, because it's been redesigned to synergize with AP damage.
I'm sure. Well, the Dolores Blade is currently plus 26 melee attacks, plus 75% weapon damage. That'll probably be like plus 50% AP damage.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Something like that. It's
and he is cheaper now, which is interesting. Only minus 50.
Yeah, I trust the people.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess I know that across the board, everyone who has a Pegasus has gotten points reduced. You'll see it in Empire.
Yes, I quite like that, because people don't tend to bring Pegasus much.
I'd say with Bretonia, like with the Beastmen, I don't disagree. I'm just a little confused with some of their choices. But with Bretonia, I pretty much agree across the board. The only thing, I think they
just
left
adds
out
up to Bretonia just being a lot better, which is hugely needed right now.
I wonder if the Blessed Field Trebuchet is also getting accuracy increase, or it's just a regular Field Trebuchet. That's the only thing I have a question on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I assumed it was both, but it might not be.
That's it. You want to cover Chaos?
Yeah, sure. So Chaos Warriors, they all get plus 2 melee attack, which I quite like, because they're not really very good at killing anything, honestly, at the moment. Chosen all get some extra health. Chosen with great weapons get some pretty substantial buffs, but they are more expensive. So they get plus 2
It's only
melee
50
attack, melee
points,
defense.
though.
It's only 50, I guess, considering how expensive they are anyway.
Yeah.
And like plus
if you're willing
2
to drop 1400, you'll be willing to drop 1450.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so that's some nice buffs there. Chosen with halberds get plus 1 HP in addition to the other, so really they're on plus 2. Marauder horsemen, they get minor buffs to mobility, which
I think they just changed how they turn around.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was a maneuvering thing, because otherwise it would just be a speed bonus, right?
A little bit tired and I never come around, turn around. Anyways,
they've been drilled with that song, and yeah.
I like the Marauder. Marauder horsemen. I'm assuming it's all
cheaper.
of them.
Possibly. I assume it's all. But yeah, so they're a bit cheaper and they got a bit better melee defense.
Even if it's just the regular ones, that's fine. I like Marauder Horsemen. 500 I always thought was a little costly. 450 seems right.
Yeah, it's quite nice to have, because they Vanguard, don't they? So it's quite nice to have that answer, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of a throwaway skirmish unit.
Absolutely. So they shouldn't be too expensive. They're just like an extra tool, just to,
I think they're better than Pistoliers, who cost the same, but...
yeah. Chaos Knights all get more health. And... Chaos Knights with Lances, one of their damage switches to AP. So
yeah,
that's pretty.
That seems to be a common theme here: is Knights getting more. AP damage. Gorby's Chariot. I don't think you need the changes.
Although I kind of see where they're going with that, because I think the Gorbies should be more of like a sustained combat kind of chariot. It should be able to hold up better, just like when it's in a fight. Obviously, you're better to cycle charge it and run through units stuff, but I think it being able to just sit and fight a bit better makes sense, because they got chewed to pieces. If they ever got stopped, So
they have big mass. It's not that they're bad. They just take a lot of effort to. You just have to micromanage them, and you really have to think about your army.
So
but I like the Hell Cannon.
Makes it a bit more reliable. Yeah, the Hell Cannon I think is a great change. So so they're more accurate. They have less ammo. They fire quicker, but they also do less damage. So there's actually a note here from the guys saying the inconsistent damage output of this weapon was very fitting for the faction, but not the most fun to play. More shots per minute, higher accuracy and less damage make it a bit more predictable while reducing the benefit of using manual fire mode. And that is brilliant, because I thought the idea of like something in the game being better when you do it yourself is just stupid. You should be focused on like the tactics and moving units, not trying to manage your cannon shots. So I think that's just really dumb.
Well, I rarely brought a Hell Cannon, just because like when I'm playing, and I've tried to watch some of my videos. I don't know how people watch it. I'm all over the place. But anyways, it just never hits. Like there'll be like one unit stationary, and it's like miss, miss.
Yeah.
It's
Unless
just
you do it yourself, which is where you get people basically trying to snipe out. And like with high damage, if you're good at aiming it yourself, you will hit every time. So you can basically just wipe out a unit, hammerers or whatever. You can just wipe out.
I think my issue was
the battle starting. It's a bit stupid.
My issue was the Hell Cannon is less accurate than the Cygor. It costs roughly. It's like same cost as the Hammer of the Witches. Any equivalent cost artillery piece.
And I think similar damage. Like when it hit, it did about the same amount of damage as the Cygor.
I'll check real quick. Missile damage is 415. Cygor is 450. Yeah, they do similar damage. I mean, the Cygor costs more because it can fight, but the Cygor will outshoot it. The Hammer of the Wishes will outshoot it. Bolt throwers will outshoot it.
Yeah, though I kind of understand the Hell Cannon being quite expensive, sort of for its class, because it's filling a gap in the Chaos roster.
Yeah,
sort of in a big way. So if you want to bring artillery, you've got to pay for it, because that's not their thing. If you know what I mean.
Oh, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. So okay, Manticores cheaper. They're cheaper across the board, as far as I can tell, like mounts and things. And I think in other factions as well, the way Manticores are, they're cheaper. So 100 less cost. They do more damage and more AP damage and attack quicker. So I think that's a lot of great changes, seeing as how they rampage now. They just need to be better to make up for that, because they can just get pinned down and killed in seconds. So I think that's really good. Dragon Ogres, better leadership and melee defense, which I really like, because Dragon Ogres, I think they're in a good place already, to be honest. I use them quite a lot, because they're just really good for penning things in, but the extra melee defense just means they'll be able to pen stuff in for longer.
I'll bring them up to 40, is pretty good.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be very formidable. Kolek and the Shaggoth, they have lower charge bonus, but then what's their charge bonus? It's pretty high, right?
I don't know. Kolek is a 62.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's barely going to make any difference. But Kolek is more expensive by 100. And then again, Giant, more health, you know, as all the Giants. Dragon mounts across the board.
This is an important note.
Oh.
Right below the all the Dragon mounts are 100 more cost, which I agree with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Archeon, just plus 15 base damage, plus 35 AP, more splash. Like, he gets pretty buff now. And you got to remember, what he has, was it Slayer of Kings?
Because that adds splash damage, doesn't it?
Adds splash damage, armor piercing damage, and weapon damage. So that 35 plus an extra 60%, it's really an extra, like, what? It'll bring it from 35 to, like, I don't know, 48 or so.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And
bonus. What's his AP at the moment? Because his AP isn't terrible at the moment, is it?
I know.
140 or something?
150.
150, okay. So, I mean, so that's pretty good. He'll be pretty formidable now, which I think is good because it's Archaon, for God's sake. I
think with these bonuses, you can probably get his weapon damage over 1,000.
That's very cool.
When using all his thingamajigs.
Oh yeah. But, I mean, he's got so few tools. Like, he just needs to be able to fight stuff. That's his whole thing. I mean, I guess he's got Law of Fire, but like, he's Archaon the Everchosen. He should be a good combatant, but most lords can outduel him, so this will definitely help.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. But also, on a horse, he'll also get more health.
Is Janet gone? I think he is.
What? No, I'm right here. What? Can you not hear me? Can you? Did you go wrong?
Yeah, I went wrong in every which way possible.
Okay, cool. Because I could hear you going, "Oh no, Janet's gone." Like, no. Anyway, so yeah, Sigvold as well gets a lot more like damage and health, but he is more expensive, which I think fair enough. I just think they're basically just trying to make all of the Chaos Lords just sort of better.
I think it's just power creep.
Yeah, but like I think it makes sense because Sigvold, he made sense. I think he was worth the money, but now they've just made him better and worth the money, so that way he can compete with other lords. But you have to pay for it, which I think is a good shout. So the Chaos Lords, they all cost more on just across the board, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But they do again get bonuses, so they're just more competitive, but you have to pay for it, which I think is quite cool because you know they're Chaos Lords. They should be tough as bulls, you know. So I like that. So, do you want to go with Dark Elves?
Yeah, the Dark Ark Corsairs, I agree 100%. Black Ark Corsairs just be anything of similar status, just hands down.
It's very true.
I mean, they're not unbreakable.
I mean, I guess they're similar to War Dancers, aren't they? How do they do against War Dancers? Because I think War Dancers win.
I don't know. We could check.
We could do.
Make a note. We'll check at the end. We'll do some testing at the end.
Yeah, all right. Note. Let's see.
The Witch Elves. I agree with the poison speed. So originally the problem with the Witch Elves. Where are they? D is for Dark Elf. That's good enough for me. I had to read it. It said 24%. Okay, so that's just a speed reduction. I guess a unit can still possibly get away, but if they're rampaging, I don't think it matters.
No, it won't.
I'm a little curious about that.
But I think the most significant thing there is the lower leadership, because I find a lot of the time the best way to deal with Witch Elves is if they do have a unit caught that you need to get out, you just smash it with more cavalry, because they tend to just rout and then you can free everyone up. And yeah, I think that tends to help. So where they catch one unit of cavalry, you throw the other one in, because it'll free up both of them, you know? So that less leadership means you can do that a bit more successfully. So it's not going to be like an instant, you've lost all your cavalry because Witch Elves caught them kind of situation. They'll get routed off nice and quick, which I like. But the speed debuff, 20%, is pretty...
I'm just a little curious, because like, if you're rampaging, right? Why would speed make a difference? I just don't understand.
Oh no, it's for when things are routing, I think. Because that poison effect is, I'm pretty sure that's different to the rampage. I've got a feeling. So it means that you, if they rout, other stuff can catch up to them better, I think.
Okay. All right. So maybe it helps the unit get away from combat when they're routing. I can see that. All right, the Reaper Bolthor, Cold Nun Knight, systems minor changes. The only big changes, the War Hydra, I agree with. Another one takes its place. Because War Hydras just aren't that great right now.
Yeah,
I would have liked to see a leadership buff, but maybe they know something I don't.
Maybe. But I don't know. I think just that extra health, I think is going to be pretty good because it's going to keep the health topped up to a point where anything near it is going to have that debuff to their leadership of strong enemy nearby.
Yeah,
in a big way. So I think it's just going to keep the health up a lot. They're going to be much more durable, but I think you're still going to have to babysit them because they're bad leadership. But they should be able to get in the thick of it. I like that.
Pegasus mounts reduction, dragon cost increase. Malekith on Seraphon's 150 though.
He is going to be so expensive now.
You want to talk about the dwarves?
Yeah, go on then. So Longbeards, less charge bonus. Honestly, I never charge with dwarves. Like, why would you? I mean, who cares, right? Less
Longbeards are good for holding.
Basically, across the board with dwarves, generally speaking, they tend to be slightly worse in combat, like slightly less health, but they'll get pushed around a lot less, which I think is a good thing. I think that's a nice way to balance it. That seems dwarfy to me.
I mean, look at the Iron Breakers.
Oh god, plus 70 mass, as well as more AP and HP.
Now, I don't know exactly how much 1 or 2 or 10 points of mass makes.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of a point. That seems like a big number.
Seems like nothing's going to knock them over, which might be worthwhile.
Yeah, but then that's kind of the thing, though. They're basically like walking tanks. Like, that's the whole point of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. Also, the Longbeards are great weapons. They are actually losing armor-piercing damage, which I find quite interesting.
Right now, Longbeards are great weapons. They trade really well.
They do actually trade very well. So I guess that's probably worthwhile. And again, with the extra mass, it means they're going to be less likely to get just bowled over by cavalry. So Rangers, better acceleration, but they're going to have less melee defense, which I think is a good shout. But Bugsmans are actually going to
This really confuses me. Bugsman Rangers are already amazing.
They are so good.
And now you have made them even more amazing because they do not like +4 melee attack. They already have. Where are they? They already have. Well, they have 20. They have 38 defense, but now they're also getting charge defense against all or large.
Yeah, and they have more health, which, it's +4 HP, which is actually bigger than a lot of the HP sort of changes.
And they have regeneration.
But because they got regeneration, I'm pretty sure that's on a percentage basis, which means that they're going to regenerate faster because they have more health. So that makes them even more dangerous. And charge defense versus large, it means you can't even just smash them with cavalry and get out of there knowing that unit's knackered. They're just going to soak it up. It's crazy. I don't know why they've had so many buffs. Because they're really good right now.
I love them where they were. Yeah. I'm a little curious. Maybe they're just not popular in multiplayer because I think they're amazing.
Maybe. I think they're really solid. They're so good against other ranged units. With the shields and the regeneration, they can just do so much damage there.
They're also good in late game when other guys are all tattered.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, Iron Drakes, I agree with that.
Yeah, because I can't remember the last time I saw Iron Drakes. I really can't. So I think them just being cheaper, it's going to make it more worthwhile. The Brimstone guns, more accuracy, which I quite like. So it should be better for dealing with big dinosaurs and crap like that. Gyro Bomber and Gyrocopters, they'll be able to bomb quicker, which is novel. The Gyro Bomber and the Sky Hammer, they've got better ground speed, which I think.
But they did that across the board. All flyers do.
Yeah, but I think that's still quite a strange thing for helicopters to be faster on the ground. But yeah, it makes sense. They can get out of a fight a bit quicker, so that's nice. The
I am curious about the.
So it's going to be explosive. So it should do better versus infantry. So the gyro bombers should be able to fire at infantry with their
as it stands now, the bombs just don't really do any damage. So I wonder if that's going to help it out. I'll have to try it out when it comes out.
I don't know. The Skyhammer seems to do crazy high damage.
Oh, that Warhammer 1, yeah, it did. But Warhammer 2, I've been using it. And just
I'm not sure
the way it fires the missiles not missiles. The way it fires or drops the bombs, it just seems to miss for me.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess maybe they're just thinking the bombs will stay as they are, a bit of a weird one, but we'll just make their normal attacks a bit better to make them a bit more worthwhile, a bit more reliable, when they're not bombing things, which I quite like.
There's also a lot of artillery changes there.
Yep, so Grudge Thrower, more accurate, more explosions. Organ Gun is more expensive and less accurate, which makes sense, because that was by far and away the best artillery piece the dwarves had, except the Goblobber. So I think that needed some tweaks. The Skyhammer is actually more expensive. It's -5 reload. Does that mean it's quicker to reload?
No, it's
Slow. It's sometimes hard to
slower.
tell. Okay, but it does have a reduction to accuracy as well. So the Skyhammer seems to just
It's
be
got
worse, I think.
Well, I'm looking at it now, and it says its reload time is 3.8 seconds. So maybe now that it's doing explosions, it'll be like 8 seconds. I don't know. We'll see.
Sure. So
I still have to play with it.
Flame cannon I like. It's going to have more range and more explosion. Great. I think that's good, because who was bringing flame cannons? It's pretty rare.
I did, again. Versus Wood Elves.
Yeah, but you always pick the weird stuff, dude. Like, even against Wood Elves, I barely bring them. I don't really see them against Wood Elves much either.
I think, personally, I think one of the problems with the flame cannon is that projectiles were too slow.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Projectile tweaks. Yeah, because people used to just be able to sidestep them pretty easily. You can zigzag and you'll never hit with a flame cannon. And it didn't home in like the hell cannon. That's also really slow. The Thane, more expensive. I think that makes sense. Like with the Tormentor sword, he's basically like just the worst to deal with. So I think a little bit more expensive is a good tweak.
They're plus 50.
Yeah. So again, I think that's useful.
And of course, artillery crews, more hit points.
And yeah, unless we're otherwise mentioned, everything apart from missile infantry. Sorry, no, missile infantry gets it too. Everything apart from rangers gets more mass. So that's pretty crazy. So I think that's
Empire, huh?
Yeah. Can you hear my dog barking, by the way?
Yeah, it's fine. People like dogs.
Yeah, people like dogs, except not when they're being shouty. I think the postman's come. She hates the postman.
As we all do. As we all do.
I hate that guy.
So I'm gonna come out here right now, and the first one I'm really confused about. The first two, Flagellants and the Tattersouls. So they lose some base damage. They gain some melee attack, but higher cost.
Yeah, this I thought was outrageous.
I am confused.
They're not good right now. Like, they just don't perform very well at the moment. So why are you making them more expensive?
Well, now, I mean, I used to be, like, early days, people would just bring Flagellants.
Yeah.
And now, I only bring a Flagellant if I just want something to stay put for a while.
Yeah, if you're going to get something, you know, it's going to be, like, quite a thin line. Right? So if they're going to bring, like, a lot of elite troops. So if you're getting, it's like Dark Elves or High Elves, generally. I like to have a Flagellant just to stand in the way of stuff. And it'll get a couple of units caught up, and you can keep shooting things, you know, with all your guns a bit longer. But
the next
just seems weird to me.
Yeah, I would have to test it. Maybe the attack, melee attack. I mean, it's an extra 5% to hit. Maybe it costs out. I don't know. I would have to experiment. I'm really confused.
Yeah.
The next three are just some minor buffs. Nothing crazy. But there's a lot of changes for the knights.
Well, saying that, they do get extra AP on halberdiers, and I think that's worth mentioning, because they couldn't fight dinosaurs very well, which seemed odd, considering...
I don't know, they did okay. The problem with fighting dinosaurs is that the halberdiers just get bowled over.
That's true. But I think
there's nothing to stop them.
When stuff is penned down, I think is nice. So I think that's a nice change.
But yeah, the minus 50 melee or cost to Empire Knights, 100% agree. Rice Guard, more AP. 100%. Demigryph Lances, minus the multiplayer cost, more hit points. Agree.
That's pretty great.
Royal Alpha Griffice, minus 3 bonus versus large. What's our bonus versus large right now? Let's look at Demigryph Knights.
I think it's like
28. Okay, yeah, they're still good though.
So down 25. So, but more health. Because I think a lot of the problems with the Demigryphs at the moment. I'm thinking against Lizardman again because I just hate that matchup. Is they just tend to get beaten up before they can get the damage in. So I think the extra health and the fact they're a bit cheaper, I think that's just good. I think that's definitely going to help.
Pistoliers, they're in a bad spot.
So yeah, just
Outriders,
small
slight increase of firing arc. I 100% agree with that because they have a very limited firing arc.
Yeah, very much so.
But more importantly, the grenade launchers. Because one thing I thought they were having a problem with is the range is just too short.
Yeah.
So I think this would be okay. Like I'll try to play with them, but I want to see it.
I mean, that seems nice. Just little buffs across the board for them, which is good. Make them a little bit more competitive because they're a bit of a, if you do get into a position where you can fire them, they can do pretty well. But the chances of them not just getting shredded by any ranged units is pretty slim.
In CA's defense, though, they also have to account for campaign. So, for example, the Hellstorm rocket battery, terrible multiplayer, fantastic in campaign.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's got to be rough actually, because although there are some AI changes in the campaign, I noticed, just to offset the whole. They can't be too good because then they'll win in campaign all the time. Is they have made it so stuff doesn't clump around single unit models as much anymore in campaign.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to take advantage of the AI quite so much. So I think that's good.
A lot of changes to the artillery mortars. Love it. Increased accuracy, faster, cheaper.
Yeah. That's good.
Hellblaster, fire animation, duration, length, rebalance. So it's strong buff. So I need a really strong buff. I'll go Control F that in a second. Steam tank, big increases. I wonder if it still gets tired from hanging out by itself. I'll have to check that when Tomb Kings come out. Luminarca Hitch, mine's 100 points. I agree with that. Yeah. So I'm gonna look at strong buff when you. Nope, never mind.
I was gonna say Steam Tank has got like some pretty huge buffs too. Like I like that. Oh, actually, less speed, so it can't kite around as much, but it will do more damage, which I like.
Oh, dude, that was. I've had many games I've lost.
Yeah,
where
so -2 speed is not huge, but it should help.
Well, now I can at least be caught a little bit. I mean, it's speed 50. It's still pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
All the mounts, I agree with that. All wizard mounts reduced because I just never could justify. Like I'm looking at wizard now, and it's 200 for a warhorse.
Yeah,
I can never justify it.
Right. So I really like that. And Pegasus cheaper.
Same.
Empire Captain just cheaper. And also for the Pegasus, that's gonna be minus. That's gonna be 100 cheaper for a Captain.
I think the only one really worth mentioning is the last one is Call Franz, the extra 55 AP.
That is so useful. Yeah, I really like that. It's about time he had that.
Because Call Franz on Deathclaw has 290 AP. So yeah, he might actually be able to win some fights now.
So that's good. I really like that. Although one thing you did mention, which I actually quite like, it's a very simple change, but crossbowmen, 1 extra regular projectile damage.
That's not bad. What are they right now?
I like that, because it just means they're going to be slightly better at killing those unarmored units. So stuff like, Skaven and things like that, I think it just helps.
Witch Elves?
And Witch Elves, yeah. I think it just helps them deal with fodder, which is what they're for. But usually, you wouldn't bother. You just bring some extra sort of units to delay things, rather than bring crossbowmen. So I like that. And Savage Orcs as well, stuff like that. I just think, I think people will actually bring crossbowmen, because you don't see them often.
You ready for the High Elves?
Absolutely. So,
well, there's some minor changes.
We've got to ditch the whole turn thing, haven't we?
Oh, you can take the
I don't know
whose
turn it is anymore. I'll do it.
It's your turn.
White Lions, so less AP, but more regular damage. I don't really know what that means. I don't see them being useful generally. So I find that a bit odd, because I feel like they should match up much better against the things that they should be used for killing for, which is armoured stuff, and now they'll be worse at that. So that seems odd. I don't know what that change is about.
White Lions are just supposed to be a middle tier troop.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like other middle tiers do better, but that's just me.
So yeah, I find White Lions in a bit of a weird place, and I'm not sure that really sort of changes my mind about them all that much. Archers, all archers are going to be less accurate, which I think is probably a good idea, because they all just shred everything. It can be pretty ridiculous the amount of damage they can do. Silver Helms, a bit healthier, which is nice. Dragon Princes, they cost more, which is a good shout, because they're just MVPs right now. Also, Great Eagles, more AP damage, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
That. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think they should be there, right? They've got the razor-sharp talons and stuff. They should be able to...
Well, that was one of the problems you had. Unless you're hunting like a wizard, it's not...
Yeah,
they can't really do much.
Right? Yeah. So, similar thing with mounted characters. They're all going to have similar shifts to their, from regular to AP, which is cool. Because it's going to make Great Eagle mounts a little bit more worthwhile. Athilmar chariots are going to be better, which I find insane, because they're already really good.
Yeah.
So extra melee attack and defense, I think that's pretty great.
Well, I think that's to incentivize people to take them. A lot of people don't take chariots, but that's because they're hard to manage.
Oh, the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower has got a bit more range and speed. Same changes as the Reaper Bolt Thrower, I think. But yeah, just a bit of extra range. It means they can counter artillery a little bit better, and that's the only reason I use them. Dragon mounts, all more expensive, which is just across the board, isn't it? That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So I think, again, good shout.
Lizardmen. Some small tweaks.
But significant, I think.
The first three are just small tweaks. I don't think we really had to talk too much about them. But I am a little curious.
Chameleon skinks with a melee defense. It just means you can catch them and kill them with slightly worse.
Well, catching them is the same.
Is good. Yeah, but it means when you catch them with something like I don't know, just any light cav, they won't just immediately die as soon as they get in fight with them. They might actually kill some chameleon skinks before they get routed, which is nice.
Well, it makes them more vulnerable. Stuff like wolf riders and mounted yeomen,
which they should be vulnerable against, I think. So that's
here's something I had to say: the Bastillodon -3 cast. I don't think I ever go below. I don't think I ever use more than 3 or 4.
Yeah,
the battles are
the
just
cooldown is actually quite substantial on the cast of that, I think. So so that seems odd, but I guess it does stop like ridiculously drawn out fights.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
The Connoisseur, larger hitbox, and he's slower to attack. I agree with that because as it stands, like they have a huge mass, they had a tiny hitbox, and they just mauled everything.
Oh yeah.
So I agree with that across the board. Skink Chief -18. I was for
that is fantastic.
I was for like -50, but obviously I didn't sit down and test it, so I'm not gonna.
But yeah, I'm thrilled they got less ammo because they'd just be in the sky for an entire match.
And Krokar getting less missile resistance, 100%. He was just he was impossible to bring down.
And slightly less armor, so that's good. Yeah, I agree with that.
What else of note? There's some minor.
But Krokgar not on Grimlock does get better anti-large bonus, which is quite cool. So I think you might see him more on foot or on a cold one or horned one or whatever.
I don't know. It's too much fun to bring him on Grimlock.
It is. Grimlock's just too fun.
But everything else is just some minor changes. I think we'll see less Scar Veteran on Carnosaurs. Remove Primal Instincts. What's Primal Instincts?
Oh, which one's Primal Instincts?
Hold on, I'm looking. Frenzy. Primal Instincts. That's the Rampage.
Oh right, so he's not going to Rampage anymore.
Yeah, so he got debuff, but he's not going to Rampage.
See, that I always thought was a bit stupid. It's like, you got a veteran riding this thing. It shouldn't just be like some feral Carnosaur.
Oh, I thought that was for the Lord.
That's for the Scar Veteran.
Yeah, because the Old Bloods, I understood him not rampaging, but this is only a hero, so I was like, I was fine with him rampaging.
Well, yeah, he's still a hero. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Sotek might be able to help us out at some point with this, but I'm pretty sure, like, the Scar Veterans, they're still, like, hundreds of years old, and they have those Carnosaurs pretty much for most of their lives. So, there's enough of a bond for them to be like, trust me, mate, you're fine. Don't go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still a T-Rex.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, I like they don't rampage anymore because they were just a bit unreliable. If they rampaged and you had to pull out of a fight, you're dead, which was sad. And they have all the debuffs, so it means
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's
wow.
I mean,
Scar
everything else is
though getting far more AP damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of tweaks there. Yeah. I don't know if how much is it warranted. I would have to see. If somebody changes, I would just have to see how they perform.
I think so. But I think generally it seems like a slight debuff across the board, but they should be a little bit more reliable now, I think.
Are you ready for the Skaven?
Yes. Hang on, it's 9 again, isn't it?
Yeah, right, it is.
Doom Wheel. More expensive. Fantastic. Less charge speed. Really good. Less melee attack. Really good. Does do more regular damage, but less AP. And collision attack tweak. So basically, that all adds up to it won't be able to run straight through an entire unit in, a second and mow everything over, because it'll be a bit slower on the charge. It will do more damage against lightly armoured stuff, but it won't be able to just kill lords and charge them down and just keep rolling over them. So I think that's just good. So I think the things that it wasn't meant to do now won't do those things, but the things it should be good at, it can do.
I think this Skaven are pretty balanced across the board, but one thing I would like to point out is I think the Screaming Bell and the Plague Furnaces are too good.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
They are 800 points.
Bizarre. The Night Runners and the Gutter Runners. I didn't know their throwing stars ignored shields.
Yeah, they do.
Well, they don't anymore.
There was an error. I don't know what, but there was an error.
Yeah, which you'd think that would be in like bug fixes rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good because they were really too good. Storm Vermin healthier. I like that. Artillery Crew. Yeah, like every other faction, a bit healthier.
The only thing I'm confused about is just the Screaming Bell and the Plague Furnaces.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's not a tweak on those, but I don't know. I think it's because they're just so flimsy. I think if you expect them,
I don't think they're that flimsy. Because they have 44 speed.
Yeah.
They take your guy from 20 armor to 100. They give them more mass so they can push things around, and not to mention they have a whole bunch of buffs. And I don't know. It is 800 points though. Honestly, I don't sit down and do all the testing.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else about the Skaven?
Honestly, no. I think Doomwheel's the only ones that seem to behave like they shouldn't, and they seem to have remedied that, or at least attempted to. We'll have to wait and see. But so that's the only thing that really I cared about. I think all the Plague Furnace stuff, I think it can be countered. So yeah, I think fair play. So do you want to do greenskins?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing big. It's just some leadership, some melee. So I'm just going to jump to the interesting parts. I think I'm just going to do that. The Ragnarok Spider, 100 less multiplayer cost. I agree with that, because as it stands, like no one ever takes the regular Ragnarok, right?
Yeah, they always just spend the extra money and go for the Queen, don't they?
So an extra 500 points. I mean, that's a squig herd.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go back here. Giant, we already talked about that. Rock Lava is slightly more accurate. That's fine. Grimgore, look at that. Extra 60 AP.
Very nice.
And
armor as well. Which I like.
And it says he's getting more mass, so he's harder to get pushed around.
Yeah.
So that means his AP is going to 350.
And what's his axe called? I can't remember.
You're talking about Gitsnick?
Yeah.
Gitsnick? Extra 40%.
So that should be pretty great.
So what is that? That's an extra 24. That's not too bad.
That's going to be nice.
Not too bad. I think that's going to make Grimgore a little more viable if it's true that he doesn't get knocked down as much.
Yeah, because he should be viable. At the moment, he's absolute trash.
And the boar mount is going down to 300.
That's in line with all the other wizards getting cheaper mounts, because wizards on foot will just get killed pretty quickly.
So that's all I had to say about the greenskins. You ready for the what else?
Yes. So Eternal Guard, going to be less durable, with less HP. Dryads, less a. Wow, that's bizarre. I thought Dryads were in a good place right now, but they're going to be less melee attack and HP. All War Dancers are going to have less health, which means they'll be even more vulnerable to like spells and just cheap ranged fire.
Maybe they're
scary.
The other thing I can think is maybe they're trying to incentivize people to bring the tree units more.
Yeah, or just a variety. Even just bring some Eternal Guard and some War Dancers, because like my armies against like Skaven and like Beastmen tend to just revolve around a truckload of War Dancers, and they seem to do great. So I think that makes sense. Like encourage variety.
Something like Wind Blast and what is it? Pestilent Breath is just going to annihilate them even.
The thing is, even Flock of Doom, because like Wood Elves have got such tiny like HP pools, you can do a lot of damage before the engagement just throwing Flock of Doom on top of them. I mean, that'll still be the case, but it'll just hit them even harder. So that's pretty cool. Azrai Spears, more melee defense. Quite like that. It means they can stand up and fight cavalry a little bit longer, which is good. Wildwood Rangers, more melee defense. I mean, they're very expensive, Wildwood Rangers, so I think they should be a little bit more durable. Hagbane Tips going to be cheaper.
I agree with that.
That's cool. More ammo for all Glade Guard. But wait, removed magical attacks for all of them.
Do they have magical attacks?
Yeah, Starfire Shafts had fire and magic attacks, and the Hagbane Tips had
magical attacks. Interesting. So I guess they want to incentivize you for magical attacks. Use this Swift Shiver Shards.
I guess, yeah. So that's kind of interesting though.
But I agree with the reduction for the Hagbane.
It also really helped them fight like anything with physical resist. So like the Skaven, a lot of Skaven units. So I guess it just means that they'll be able to avoid Wood Elf arrow fire a little bit better. With their,
but I mean, the Wood Elves still have a lot of magical attacks on the table.
Oh yeah, they will anyway. But you could just focus them down really easily, like all the gutter runners and things with ranged before. So I guess they made it a little bit easier for them to survive. Deepwood Scouts, all faster or with more health. That's interesting.
And more ammo. I'm looking at Weight Watchers.
The Swift Shiver Shards, though, I guess because the Swift Shivers are so heavy, there's slightly less range on them.
Well, there's 2 shots per.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
they fire
less
2
range
shots.
makes sense. I like that. But yeah, extra speed though on all of them. Like they're pretty quick anyway, so that's impressive. Way Watchers, less reload time and higher projectile speed. So they'll be able to hit things better and quicker. And they have a bit more ammo.
Yeah, they're gonna be dangerous.
Yeah, and better acceleration, so they'll be able to react quicker to charging. They can just run away quicker, which is pretty cool. Just across the board, Way Watchers are just better. That's insane. Hagbane tips: no magical attacks for the Glade Riders anymore. Eagles, more AP and better melee attack and defense. So similar to the other Eagles. Same with the mounted characters. Hawk Riders, better ground speed, like everything on the every flying unit at the moment. More mass as well, which is interesting. So they should be able to shove things over a bit better. Quicker reload and better charge bonus and HP. I quite like that because you're not seeing Hawk Riders a lot. That should help them out. Sister Thorn, +8 models.
But what are they at right now? Let's check. 30 models? Okay.
That's quite cool. All right, they got less health though, which is interesting.
We got more models.
Each model will die quicker, but there's more of them. They will do more regular damage, but they are more expensive now.
I think it's justified.
Now this is interesting. Treekin now do more AP damage because against armored things, you just never bothered bringing Treekin. Now they might actually be a bit more viable, and they also have more missile resistance. So I think we're going to see a lot more Treekin now. The Treeman, charge defense versus large, exchanged for charge defense versus all. So if they're standing still, you can't really just like knock over a Treeman. They don't care what's attacking them. More AP damage again, and more missile resist. So that's pretty cool. So they should do better against. So the Treekin and the Treeman should do better against Dark Elves with all their AP arrow fire, because it'll just negate the missile damage, rather than the armor having to do that. So I like that change. Ancient Treeman. Same with the charge defense, more AP, more leadership, more HP. Durthu, more HP, and that's a lot, an extra 1,000 HP for Durthu. He's already really tanky, so that's pretty cool. The female Glade Lord on Forest Dragon, slightly better missile resist to fix inconsistency. I'm not quite sure what that means. I guess she has missile resist that's higher normally on other things. I don't know. And but all Glade Lords are going to be 100 quid more.
I kind of disagree with this, and here's why.
Why?
The regular Glade Lord, the male version, he can add a bunch of... He can add attack bonuses to everyone around him. Like, you can buff up everyone's melee defense by 10 with his spells. But the problem is the Glade Lord, the female version, the Prayer Amare is just so good.
It is.
And unless he's 200 points cheaper, I just don't think you're going to see anyone take the male version. Yeah, but that's just...
No, you got a point. I think that's definitely valid. Because, she's just too useful. And if you're not going to bring a Glade Lord at all, you're just going to bring Durthu or Orion, So, and Durthu's better
maybe
now
the Ancient
at the same
Treeman,
price.
Now that he's got some changes.
Oh, maybe actually, with a bit more AP.
A lot of health.
But yeah, I don't tend to bring the Ancient Treeman. Because I find, I don't know, he's a spellcaster, really. Sure, he's pretty durable, but I tend to just prefer bringing a Branch Wraith if I need a spellcaster.
Maybe this will change your mind.
Maybe. I'll have to give it a go. So,
all right, vampires. There we go. All right, vampires. It's, some minor changes. Nothing really substantial. Black Knights with lances. Okay, I can see it. I mean, nothing really seems to be different until we get to the Vargeist. I 100% agree with that. They just didn't have the AP, so I just never brought them.
That's really good, actually. That's a nice change.
The Vargulf, he hits a little more AP because the Vargulf doesn't really do that much damage.
Yeah,
he's fun, but he does 65 and 165.
He does attack a bit slower.
But
less charge bonus, but he just does more damage, so that makes sense. And better melee attack and melee defense. I think those are all really good changes for the Vargulf.
Yeah, and they wanted to stop him from just cycle charging.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it means he's a bit less squishy as well. He's a bit.
The corpse cart is a minus 100 points. It's going to be it's going to be 250.
See, that's great. I love that. I think that's a really good choice. Because the corpse carts are just fun little things that you should have to complement your army. They're too expensive, I think. So I like that.
Do you think it's all the corpse cards or just that one?
I think it's just the standard one that basically does
Oh,
nothing.
Janet died again.
Oh, no, I didn't. Come on, Gobbo. Sort out your Discord. Oh, he'll be back, guys.
Alright, so he went away. Alright, so yeah, the corpse cards. I guess it's all of them, unless it's just the one.
I assume it's just the basic one, because the basic one is never brought, because the buffs that, like the aura effects that the more expensive ones bring are just, well, they're valuable. The standard corpse card doesn't really do a lot.
It's for 250. I'll bring it.
Yeah. So Graveguard, better charge bonus on the great weapons, which is interesting.
Yeah, breath attack, dragon mounts. That's all the same. That kind of coincides with everyone else. You ready for abilities?
Well,
I think this is
because that's actually better damage on the breath attack for the Terror guys, where everything else seems to have got like a bit of a nerf. The other breath attacks, so I think that brings it more in line with the dragons.
The Terror guy's breath is already the weakest of all the breath.
That's true. So right, on to abilities change, I guess.
Yeah, there's a few. Let's just skip to the kind of the important ones. Yeah. See, small tweaks improve abilities, affect melee damage, and then ended up wind up times for abilities with a damage component. All right, so it looks like it's going to give people a chance to get out of the way a little bit more. To do the initial charge for abilities, blah blah blah. Where's one like net of Ammonite? That's a big one.
That is a biggie.
It's no longer area effect. That was just a single point, and overcast for a larger area.
That's cool. I like that. I like that very much.
The Tempest. The Tempest now doesn't pin a unit. It slows speed by 72%.
That's pretty cool as well. I quite like that change because it was pretty much just you know, because it does damage as well. Like it basically just ended flying units. You just pin them in place, and all your guys had just perfect shots on them. At least that gives them a slight ability to get out of range or to, you know, try and zigzag a bit. So
well, the difference is like the Howling Warp Gale pins it in place, so you have to set up the shot.
Oh yeah.
With the Tempest, you could just keep spamming it and you kill it.
Yeah, which is pretty.
But now, if you poison the target, right, it can't get away. You'll reduce its speed by like 96%. And it just won't be able to go anywhere.
Although, I guess, I don't know, it works on flying units. They don't have to be in the air, do they? You can use Tempest when somebody's on the ground, can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Tormentor Sword doesn't last as long, but recharges faster. That's fine.
Yeah, I like that. Well, it doesn't say it recharges faster. Like, it's going to make no difference if your guys...
Oh, sorry, recharge, you don't have to be in melee, though.
Yeah, so that's good. So you can use it defensively more. But, yeah, it's not going to have as big an effect, which I think is good. Prey of Anathema, max uses on that. It needed that. Effigy to Git, I think the same. Anything that pins people in place, like just being able to draw, like kite people around until you get it back, and then killing something else is just stupid. So I think getting that is just, that's a no-brainer.
See, Cold-Blooded doubles the duration, but halves healing per second.
Okay. So so the debuff is going to last a lot longer, but there will be the healing. You know, it's going to be the same over the time.
Yeah.
So that's really good. So it means you're going to have to leave your guys out of combat for longer to get that healing back. And if they are in combat, the healing isn't going to outweigh the damage they're taking. So that's really good. I think that's really solid.
Grombrindle has no fear. It's another one. It's free now.
That's interesting.
This is a nice little tweak.
Yeah.
But how much does it cost right now? 221. Yeah.
Warp Bomb and Dark Conduit. Those are both campaign spells, aren't they? So that doesn't.
Where?
Warp Bomb and Dark Conduit is after Grombrindle. Reduce damage.
No.
I think those are campaign only things.
Are they?
I think so. Yeah, the Warp Bomb is the one where you can blow up your Skaven slaves.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And Dark Conduit, I think, is a similar one that Dark Elves get. I think.
Mark of Cornflakes. That's fine. They made it cheaper.
They made a joke. Isn't that
Hold the Line, cheaper. And Chaos Tombblade. So Heinrich Kimmler now is going to be a little bit better.
Oh, yeah.
Because it used to be he could only heal like 3 units, but now he can heal everyone
around
him.
Everything in range. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And especially with him having, you know, Krell and stuff now, like he's going to be pretty good. Which I like.
I like it.
Yeah.
And a couple of changes to spells.
Yeah.
Tier 1 spells now. Okay, so the top level spells all have a 20% longer recharge time. I'm fine with that. Bottom level spells have a 20% shorter reload time. Soul Blight, I love that. Power cost -1 more. That's
cool.
Because I love the Marathi armor bomb.
Dwellers Below is cheaper, which I think makes sense because it is a lot worse than it was at the end of Warhammer 1.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Piercing bolts, now armor piercing, fully armor piercing. Which
a lot of changes to
a
lot of changes to Lore of Fires. I think it's gonna be a lot more viable.
Because at the moment it just doesn't do as much damage as a lot of other Laws of Magic, so you don't bring it. It's just for buffing normally. So Flamestorm, radius is increased.
But its damage is down.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's going to be better for, big blobs of loads of stuff. So, that's interesting.
And so, but if you overcast, it does more damage.
Fate of Una more expensive. I think that makes sense. It does delete Elite Cav.
I like the next one below it.
Oh, yes. Summon Cygors. Grinding faster. That's great.
Hopefully we don't see that nonsense anymore. It was beatable. It was just annoying.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Plague and Plague upgrade. Yeah, I can see that. Plague wasn't the greatest. I think that's it.
That's it. That's it. All right.
Yeah.
So I guess let us know what you think in the comments.
And I hope you have a great day.
Yeah. So remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Gobbo needs all the help he can get.
Yeah. So does Janet. Janet's getting hit by YouTube now that he doesn't have 1,000 subscribers.
I know. It's ridiculous. So yeah, guys, help me out. Anyway, I guess see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.